pigeons are coming mad close to me. But then again, I'm in their habitat. Saadiq Ranks, a creative and corporate, here to give you gems that I'm learning along the way, and hopefully that you can utilize in your own lifestyle. We're in Union Square right now. I have a retreat today that I'm going off to. So I want to record this video because I believe it's time for y'all to start investing. I've been investing since I was 16. I asked my mom for a custodial account on TM Ameritrade, which now turned into Charles Schwab. And ever since then, I've been investing. Now, the reason why I'm telling y'all to start investing now, and it's very imperative, is because most people typically start investing, not really when it comes to like 401ks and stuff like that, but if they start actually investing by themselves, it's typically in their later years. That's like 30 plus, not calling people old and stuff like that. I'm just saying that like that's typically when people start coming into money. And once they start coming into money, then they start investing. And the reason why is because you see that the wealth gap is increasingly growing, right? So you have to figure out different ways in which you could attach yourself to some type of wealth before it's literally too late, and that gap is just so divided to the point where it's like the middle class and the working class is not going to be able to grow in terms of income, in terms of wage, and all of that. So to participate in ways in which you're able to grow money, the quickest ways that we see in America is the stock market and then real estate. And then now you're seeing like more of like content spaces and stuff like that grow into that space. So you want to attach yourself to this type of wealth because ultimately it's not going to be there forever. Yes, the market will be there forever, but will the entries, because you're seeing a huge shift into new type of companies, new type of markets, AI. A lot of this creates a lot of opportunity, but it's also weeding out a lot of the players. And if you're not going to be able to get in now, then it's going to be really hard to start getting in 5 years. Same thing when it comes to crypto. The more time invested and the longer you have in that investment, the more returns. Stuff compounds, which means that like over time, it's not only growing at a steadily pace, but it starts growing at a way rapider pace. And that's what happens when you're in the market for a while, but you also understand the ebbs and flows. And I think that's like the best thing that comes from the market is you understanding just patterns and recognizing that, because it's like, for example, like I went down $3,000 in the beginning of this week. Why? Because there was a huge rumor that AI has been completely overvalued, which it is. And there's been this disruptor in the market in which can produce, I don't want to get into like crazy stuff, but a disruptor in the market that's basically going to make AI way more optimized and efficient, and all the spending that a lot of these companies have done already is not going to materialize as much as they thought it would, right? So it caused all of our portfolios to go down if you're heavily in tech. I was heavily in tech. But if I wasn't disciplined, I wouldn't have known when to start investing or to start pushing it, right? So I knew now with that time being invested that it was not going to, this wasn't going to be the disruption that would pop a bubble. This was just going to be something that would start making, I don't know, like it's a short-term turmoil and something to look towards long-term, but you know that it would recover because that's just what the market has been doing in the last couple of years. We're seeing wealth disparities like we haven't seen it before. I'm a college student trying to enter the job market. I'm seeing job postings getting posted up one day and getting taken down the next. Like, a lot of this AI stuff that we're talking about hasn't been priced in, honestly, in my opinion, to the labor market. And you're going to have to find very creative ways in order to make money and or do trades like this that we're talking about. So I want y'all to figure out another source of not only cash flow, but like of a steady income maybe that you can create, and investing can do so. I'll talk a little bit about my background and then give an overview on to how you can start investing, what resources to look at, and how I did it. All them birds flying above you, man. If you ever been shit on by a bird, bro, you know what I'm talking about, bro. This gives me mad anxiety. I was 16. It was COVID. Nobody was doing nothing. I wasn't doing nothing. Me and my friend have been always like interested in current events, politics, kind of like real world stuff. And he sent me over this podcast called Earn Your Leisure. And it was these two black guys from, I don't know, either the Bronx or Brooklyn. I think it's Brooklyn. Two guys from Brooklyn, one a financial advisor and one a teacher, and they just started releasing a lot of business podcasts, right? And whether it's about credit, the stock market, real estate, like they just started releasing a bunch, and I clutched onto the stock market ones heavily. I was just learning options. I was learning how to trade. I was learning how to make quick money, although I was being warned multiple times not to, right? I was being warned to just invest, build a moat first, a foundation, and then start options investing. Did the podcast, started reading that word through wormholes. I started creating my own trading journal, all these different things. And then after the fact, I just started kind of like reaching out to people and getting into chat rooms and started joining Discords and stuff like that. And then that's like when I was working at McDonald's, I was putting money into the market and then making a lot of money, but it was 2020, so everyone was kind of like making money. Between the time I was like 16 and 18, like going into college, I was doing a lot of trading, and then I just started just investing once I got into college because I didn't want to keep blowing up my account. Right, and after that fact, I started getting into the finance world a little bit more, and that's when I got my internship on Wall Street for as a sales and trading analyst, right? Which is like literally the markets. If you want to watch a show that like embodies it a little bit, you have like industry. People gotta realize like some of these guys that we have within our communities are literally as good as the people that we have on Wall Street. Like, a lot of the sentiments, themes that's talked about is talked about on Wall Street. So I got the side of retail investing, from these guys, Earn Your Leisure, Wall Street Trapper, Master Investor, Ian Dunlap, these people that I started learning from. And then I got to actually experience it on Wall Street on the institutional side and see how a lot of big money looks at it. My background has ultimately been a retail investing background, and then it moved into an institutional side where I was able to see both sides of how people look at the markets. This is why it allows me to speak on it from a consultant standpoint. I now work as a consultant to a financial literacy company and trying to like revise and kind of like tailor curriculum for high school students, corporate people, like anybody that wants to learn financial literacy on this side. I feel like I've been through times like good like turmoil and stuff like that where now I've seen good patterns and have been able to pull out good returns. This has been like, I don't know, really cool avenue that I've been able to pursue and put a lot of people on around me. Like I probably have influenced about like 5 to 7 people I know personally to open up stock accounts, and who knows how many people I've influenced online to do so. So it's really cool to talk about it and get it done. All right, the question is how do you do this, right? So you have a brokerage account, which is a bank account for stocks. You can transfer money into that account and still not touch it and or buy any stocks. But there's multiple brokerage accounts that you could use. I'm not going to recommend any, right? But you have like Charles Schwab, you have Robinhood. Robinhood's much more accessible for a lot of younger people and or people that's like starting off into the market. So that's a good application or platform you could use. I've always been a YouTube kid, so that's where I've gotten most of my information from. Obviously, you shouldn't take financial advice from people in terms of like what to buy, where to buy. Just like pay attention to the world around you. When I teach in my financial literacy classes and about investing and stock investing, it's like you gotta see what's going on. Like I use Nike as an example. Look at the young kids. What do people wear? Like I would never, when I was a kid. Hello, doing well. Videographer. Yeah. Thank you. I would never be caught in New Balances. And mad kids was just like me. Would never be caught in New Balances. They'd only wear Nike or Jordans or whatever was in. Now it's Asics, New Balances, Hokas. You're seeing all these different types of shoes pop up. And you're like, yo, who is going to be waning dominance or losing dominance? And it would be Nike. And you would see that reflective in their stock. Now, not everything is just cut and dry and simple, but you could think about it starting from there. So it's a good starting point of how you should look at your stocks. Same thing, it's like, all right, if you have 3 or more Apple products, you should probably have Apple stock. Like that's just like, that's like a go-to. Same thing when it's like, all right, you're in the workforce, you just entered the workforce. Let's talk about like Microsoft Excel or Office. You probably should be investing into Microsoft, like even though you might see it like outdated or something like that. Like I like Google much better than Microsoft, but the workforce is still heavily relied on Microsoft. The same thing with like Adobe. The workforce is still heavily relied on Adobe print services, document services, right? So think about it like that when you're trying to look at stocks and take it from that perspective and then start looking at company financials, how much do they make, stuff like that. Like, you could find and go read some books on resources like this, or you can just go watch a bunch of people and spend like a good 6 months kind of just like listening to podcasts regarding financial advice, regarding stock picking, regarding all these different kind of like avenues that you could take, and then just start pushing into, you start training your mind, you're training your algorithms, training this to actually start like yielding your results of these stock picks. And that's what's like how I started doing it. You know, like my biggest movers that I've gotten, NVIDIA, everybody has talked about NVIDIA. My Broadcom play, that's because I've been watching Broadcom for the last like 4 years and seeing how it moved, and then their acquisitions and stuff like that. I was like, okay, Broadcom's going to be a good pick for me, and that's been my best pick so far. Shoot, I'll probably start going live much more often on my Instagram, so follow my Instagram, and I'll be posting a lot about stocks, how I view the market, and even like I'll be going live on what's going on with the market, or just like how to like start getting invested or get started with that, because I have a lot of information I can give out, but I don't want to use this channel only for investing or just like financial principles, because it's not that. I wanted to make it very accessible to any different field within kind of corporate or the creative space. Like, there's also like general rules of thumb, right? Like, don't buy at all-time highs. That goes for crypto, that goes for stocks, that goes for anything. Do not buy at all-time highs. You will get eaten. You know, don't look at investing as just quick money. Like, you could be trading and whatnot, but it's much more probable for you to actually pull out good returns by just putting your money in, investing, watching it, and seeing how the market flows, versus you trying to go trade some options and doing weeklies and not even doing leaves, doing like months and stuff like that, and not actually pulling out returns. And then let's say like the market, like what happened earlier this week, it goes down a quick 5-10%, and you're feeling it heavy in your positions, and you start selling. Like, that's not the game, right? Like, don't play it to learn, not to like pull out some quick money. This is not sports betting. You know, this is like real stuff with millions, billions of dollars circulating, and we are just small fish trying to attach ourselves to some type of returns that these companies are making. So don't fall into that trap. I'll be linking books and resources and descriptions of what I've been utilizing to like actually learn and whatnot in the description. While you're there, drop a like though. Drop a like and subscribe, of course. But yeah, I'll be dropping all the stuff that I learned from in the description, so you could be able to start learning as well. As I said, it's not going to be like a video in which you can get the how-to or how you're going to learn everything. This is me telling you it's time to start investing. It's really just taking the step, throwing $500, throwing $1,000 into that account, and seeing how it's going to work. Hold 3 to 5 years, 10 years, and then you're starting to learn how to actually trade. You know, little did I know, like, I started at 16. I'm now 5 years into the market. That's crazy to think about, but you see how time flies, and I just started pulling out like actual returns in the last couple of years versus in my first couple of years where I blew up my account trying to trade and not knowing anything. It's crazy to think that like a lot of people that might be even working at a bank or something like that, that understands these products and financial products, how to do it, stocks, crypto, whatever, and just invest into regular mutual funds when they can be pulling out returns that they believe in. And that's what I want y'all to do. And that's why I'm just teaching and showing people. Because not only am I doing this for like high school students and corporate officials, but I want to get this out to any people that might be looking at this, young people. You know, like, you starting off early, like, is the game. Like, this is an example of what you could do to protect yourself into this new shit that we're seeing. You know, money change. We're seeing a lot of hands change wealth. And the baby boomer generation is kind of growing up. You see, when it comes to 2034, I think Social Security is over, right? Like, you need to start protecting yourself, and investing is a way that you could do it. So yeah, follow me on Instagram, like and subscribe to the video. Do what you need to do. If you haven't watched my Lone Wolf Mentality video, or you need space from your family, go do that. And I feel like these 3 principal videos are good, and I'm about to start turning it up after this as well. So, Saadiq Ranks, love y'all. I love y'all so much, man. I wish this is like could pop off so I could start doing this a little bit more often, but I got a lot of stuff like working in the background, especially when it comes to education and this world. So this is just an example, but mind you, I do a lot of in-person teachings and stuff like that. So if you ever want to come out, let me know. Drop it in the comments or something like that. And I think we off.